Once upon a time in a bustling city, there lived a boy named Tom. Tom was a bright and cheerful kid who loved riding his bike to school every morning. It was a beautiful red bicycle with shiny silver handlebars and a sturdy frame that had been with him for years. But one day Tom woke up and his heart sank. His bike was broken and he couldn't remember how it happened. The once vibrant red paint was now scuffed and scratched, and the wheels were bent out of shape. Tom felt tears pricking at his eyes. He didn't know how to fix it, and without his bike, he would have to walk to school, which would take ages. As Tom stood sadly staring at his broken bike, he heard the sound of footsteps approaching him. Turning around, he saw his dad smiling warmly. "Hey son, what's wrong?" Tom's dad asked, noticing the distressed look on his son's face. Tom couldn't hold back his tears anymore. "Dad, my bike is broken," he cried, pointing at the mangled frame and deflated tires. "I don't know how it happened, but now I can't ride it to school." Tom's dad, a man with a strong build and hands that had always smelled faintly of sawdust and machine oil, knelt down beside his son. He gently wiped away Tom's tears and said, "Don't worry, son. Let me take a look." Tom's dad was a man of few words, but his actions spoke volumes about the kind of person he was. He had a way of fixing not only broken objects but also broken spirits. With a reassuring pat on Tom's shoulder, he got up and walked towards the garage. Tom followed closely behind, his eyes filled with a mixture of hope and sadness. As soon as they entered the garage, Tom's dad got to work. The garage was a place where broken things came to life again, filled with tools and spare parts waiting for their turn to be fixed. Sunlight streamed through the dusty windows, illuminating the workbench where Tom's dad began his magic. First, he took out a large wrench and started tightening the loose bolts on the bike's frame. With each turn of the wrench, Tom could feel a surge of hope. Then he examined the tires, which were punctured and torn. These will need replacing," he muttered, scratching his graying stubble. He took out an old tube from his toolbox and started patching it up. All the while, Tom watched intently, his earlier despair slowly giving way to curiosity. After a while, his dad turned to him and said, "Why don't you help me? Hold this part while I get the other one." Tom nodded eagerly and reached out to take the part his dad offered. As the two of them worked side by side, Tom learned a few things about his dad. For instance, he discovered that his dad was a whiz when it came to fixing bikes. Apparently, he used to work at a bike shop before he became a construction worker. "I never knew," Tom said, surprised. His dad just smiled and kept working. They spent the next few hours in the garage, the only sounds being the clinking of tools and the hum of the old garage fan. Just as Tom's dad was about to put the final touches on the bike, he handed Tom a small screwdriver and said, "Here, you fix this." Tom looked at the tiny screw in his hand and then at his dad. "Are you sure?" he asked, unsure if he could do it. His dad simply nodded and smiled encouragingly. Taking a deep breath, Tom began screwing in the bolt. It wasn't easy, but with each turn, he felt a sense of accomplishment. Finally, he tightened it as much as he could. His dad came over and checked his work. "Good job, son," he said, ruffling Tom's hair. Together, they wheeled the bike out of the garage and into the bright sunlight. Tom couldn't believe his eyes. The bike looked brand new. The shiny red paint gleamed in the sun, The wheels spun smoothly and the handlebars were straight and sturdy. "Wow! It's like new!" he exclaimed, his eyes shining with happiness. As Tom ran his fingers over the bike's frame, his dad walked over to a hook on the wall and hung his tools. He then turned back to Tom and said, "Now go and enjoy your day. Have fun at school." Tom nodded, but before he could hop on his bike, his dad stopped him. "Wait, I think you forgot something." Tom looked at his dad questioningly. His dad pointed towards the old, worn-out clothes Tom was wearing. "You can't ride your bike in those," he said with a chuckle. Tom's face fell. He had been so focused on his bike that he hadn't noticed his clothes were dirty and torn from his last adventure. His dad, noticing Tom's disappointment, quickly changed his tone. "Go and change. I'll wait till you're ready." Tom dashed off, eager to put on a clean set of clothes and get to school as fast as he could. A few minutes later, Tom came back, all set to go. He put on his helmet, hopped on his bike and turned to his dad, a big smile on his face. "Thanks, Dad. You're the best," he shouted, already pedaling away. "Be careful, son," his dad called after him. Watching his son ride away, his dad felt a surge of pride. He knew Tom would never forget this day, just as he himself would never forget the day his son had learned to ride his first bike. As Tom raced down the street, the wind whipping through his hair, he realized how lucky he was to have such a wonderful dad. Not only had he fixed his bike, but he had also given Tom a valuable lesson in resilience and the importance of not giving up. Tom's heart swelled with love for his father. He knew that no matter what problems he faced in life, as long as he had his dad's love and support, he could overcome anything. And so, with a renewed sense of determination, Tom continued on his journey to school, eager to share his good news with his friends. The bell rang, signaling the start of another day of learning. But for Tom, it was more than just another day. It was a day his dad had become his hero. As the weeks went by, Tom never forgot the feeling of helplessness he had when his bike was broken. He understood that sometimes things wouldn't go his way and he might have to face challenges. But he also knew that he had his dad's words of wisdom to guide him. Whenever he felt low, he remembered how his dad had patiently taught him to fix his bike, not just by doing it for him, but by involving him in the process. This experience had taught Tom the value of hard work and perseverance. He learned that fixing things wasn't always easy, but with patience and attention to detail, he could overcome any obstacle. One day, while playing with his friends, Tom's bike got a flat tire. Instead of panicking, he remembered his dad's words and calmly took out the tools he had learned to use. With a few simple steps, he fixed the tire and was back on his bike in no time. His friends were amazed by his skills and asked him to teach them. Tom happily agreed, sharing everything he had learned from his dad. From that day on, Tom not only became the go-to bike fixer among his group of friends, but also developed a deep sense of self-reliance. He knew that no matter what problems he faced, he could handle them as long as he had the right tools and a positive attitude. The bond between Tom and his dad grew even stronger, and they shared a special connection knowing that they had faced challenges together and come out stronger on the other side. Every time Tom rode his bike, he thought of his dad and the valuable lessons he had learned. The story of the father who fixed the bike became a cherished memory that shaped Tom into the confident and capable young man he was growing up to be.